What's up, people? It's been a minute since I've been on here. It's Kelvin, your boy Kelvin. Hey, I'm just getting on here again to answer any questions that people have. It's been a minute since I've been on here. I was planning to do more lives, and then, life got in the way, and I ain't done one in a long time. So feel free to jump on, ask any questions you have for me over the past couple of months since I ain't been on here. Anything about the tech industry, about tech, about coding, or just general questions about life, and I'll try to answer my best. But other than that, if nobody got questions, I'm just gonna talk. My boy David on here. What's up, man? Yeah, I'm just on here just trying to answer some questions, man. So anybody got any questions, just let me know. If not, I'm just gonna just talk for a little while about what's been going on in the industry, just from my perspective. I think one of the biggest things I saw over the last couple of days, and I even haven't got a chance to really look into it too much, but this company released this like AI dev. Like, I know, have any of y'all heard about that? Like, I don't know, that jump was crazy. Like, I guess it's like some AI dev named Devin or something like that. And so, like, that's pretty crazy. To like have, AI, we've been like worried about AI for a little while now from, tech perspective and devs. And I mean, really everybody should be worried about it. But just having like a direct actual AI, like that's an actual dev, and like it's tied into dev tooling and can push code and commit code and can make mistakes and can like go on the internet and look up stuff, and you can kind of watch what it's doing and kind of like micromanage it or whatever. That's pretty that's getting pretty close. Like, faster than I thought. Yeah, I mean, am I worried though? Like, that's the question. Am I really worried about like this AI Devin or whatever his name is? Which I now think about it, AI dev and Devin. It is the name Devin? Y'all let me know. Like, somebody let me know. I can't remember what the name was. But am I really worried about it? I'd say no, just because I mean, I'm not more afraid than everybody else probably should be. If you're in any kind of skilled labor position, you should be worried. It shouldn't just be just devs. Like, yes, this dev specific thing came out, but like if AI is gonna take the dev jobs, then it's gonna be so many more jobs that are taken before it gets to devs, or like before it fully affects all devs. That I think devs are, like coding positions, like are going to be tech positions are going to be the least of our worries in the world at that point, of how many jobs would have been taken, like in the effect on the economy at that point. So am I personally more worried than anybody else? No, but we all should just be worried that if we're in skilled labor positions. So unless you're like an artist, and even with the artistry, now the artist stuff is starting to get attacked. But I guess if you like a physical, I guess you're more safe if you're like, I don't know, like if you have a trade, a physical trade where you got to get out and do something. But all skill positions are at risk at this point. So I'm not more worried than anybody else. But at the same time, there is a level of worry there. But I mean, I got faith that skilled people will always find something to do. So we'll always adapt. But yeah, I mean, 30 years ago, I think when the internet came out, I remember hearing from like some real old programmers, and just when the internet came out, they were scared. They were like, there's not gonna be any need for devs anymore, because you can just go, you don't have to read through manuals to figure out how to code and you can just go Google the answer. And everybody was nervous, and so that came out, and the internet ended up being like the best and the worst thing that ever happened to us. So it is what it is. So anyway, I'm going to try to answer some questions. My boy David said the more abstractions created by AI, the more you can charge for solutions. Yeah, true. Yeah. And I mean, like, you can leverage the AI, and I saw some guy got on the internet that was like saying like, don't go learn the code, just learn the AI, and and just build your own like company and build your own solutions with the AI. Like, I think there's going to be a lot more of that, where people because it's already a lot of abstractions now. Like you can use Firebase. There's a lot of no code solutions for your back end. There's a lot of no code solutions for your front end. You can put together an app or a new service, like a new SaaS, software as a service, together without any code today, like right now. Now, even without AI, you don't have to use any AI, but just plug these puzzle pieces together, plug this pre-built front end into this pre-built Firebase back end, and you can make money off of like a lot of, plug Stripe into it to pay. Danielle, what's up? What's going on? But yeah, you can set up something pretty simple nowadays, even without AI. But yeah, let me my boy David said the prices to find problems created by AI will be real. Yeah, true. Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting, man. This whole AI. Oops, I did not mean to. My bad. I ain't mean to invite you, whoever that was. I wasn't trying to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be real interesting with this AI thing, where this AI thing goes. Like, I'm kind of excited. I mean, I kind of like change. I'm scared, excited, everything. Yeah, somebody said thoughts on Devin. That's what I just was talking about. Like, I'm scared of it, but not more scared than anybody with a skilled position is right now. I think Devin's just a dev specific one, but they're gonna have like a lawyer specific one. Even like, think about these. I was reading this book. I think it's like I'll Teach You How to Get Rich or something like that. I'm just reading his finance book, and he was talking about how there's like this these robo traders, which are basically the same thing, and like these financial and stockbrokers and stuff like that are mad about these robo traders, like these apps you can download that'll just automatically trade your money and try to watch the market and try to basically do what y'all know the name of it, like a stockbroker or whatever, like I can't remember. It's like a specific name for them, but like it's the same type of thing. Like they feel like their jobs are being taken already by these robo traders and stuff. Like why go and getting like to some sort of mutual fund with like a managed mutual fund with some sort of smart stock whiz when you can just use like some automated AI or some automated system to do it. Yeah, I guess like day traders. Yeah. My boy David said company with no developers will be in trouble when they can't find a problem. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. See, and that's the thing, man. It's like the Devin thing is pretty interesting because like I like how it can like go on the internet and try to look up answers and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, right now, the software development job isn't just coding and just pushing out code. Like it's talking to people. It's having the skills to be able to convince people to do certain things. To convince, like you have a problem, like David's saying, like we get paid to be problem solvers more than anything. We just in the context of software development, but at the end of the day, we're just skilled problem solvers, and we just have the lens of software development to use those skills on. But sometimes like some days like I don't code. Some days it's just it may be getting online with a customer on a call and explaining to them why we can't fix this problem or why this doesn't work or why we should fix it this way or why this solution will work for them. And sometimes it's not as simple as just being right. Sometimes it's like knowing how to explain things, and knowing how to technically communicate things and knowing how to, and it's not always just cut and dry, just code. And sometimes the best fix sometimes the most complex fix isn't the best fix. Sometimes the best fix isn't the best fix for right now. And knowing when to make those decisions is super important. So, it's still a big gap. Yeah, I mean, if a company wants to just have like a suite of automated devs, I'm sure there's some companies that can run like that. But there's a lot of companies that can't, at least at this day and age, can't run like that. So it is what it is. Yeah, let me answer some questions, man. I probably stuck on that one too long. Do you know anything about fiber optics? I don't know nothing about fiber optics. I mean, you mean like fiber internet? I mean, I've been wanting Google Fiber for a while, but it hasn't come to my location, so it's kind of sucks. But let me see if I can find some other questions here. Is coding for everyone? That's like an open-ended question. I think it's not for everyone. Some people hate coding. Like when I got into coding, I was like in college, and I was in a mechanical engineering major, and I was trying to I was trying to do that. Like there's only a few things I heard I could do: be a doctor, lawyer, like engineer. Kind of came up late in high school. And so it was just like, then like some of my friends was doing the engineering thing. So I was like, I guess I'm technical dude. So I guess this is what I'm supposed to do. But I always liked computers, but I never knew that it was computer science major or like I never knew how you got into it. And so I got to school and they had this engineering class for programmers. This programming class for engineers. And like everybody in there pretty much hated it. But I was like doing the assignments ahead of time. I like just really enjoyed it. And so I just noticed how everybody else just hated it and I liked it. And then I found out that it was like a major and everything for it. And I switched over to it. So I think coding can be for everyone, but I think that just having that natural, it's hard to learn. So having a natural inclination towards it will make it a lot easier and you'll probably be more successful and not move out of it. Because there's a lot of, you look on the internet even, that's just a small subset of people. But like I've seen a lot of coders that, that I've known here on social media that, they get in the industry 1 or 2 years and then they decide like coding isn't for them. And they stay in tech, but they jump to like another sub tree, like not coding, but they do like product management or DevRel or something else. Cause like sometimes like they feel, sometimes they feel like just they don't like the coding, or sometimes they feel like I have more impact in other areas, or they just want to do something different. It just depends. Let me look at another question. How can I commit to 8-hour study sessions? That's just determination, grit, and that's just hard, like. Oh, Amber, what's going on? I used to work with Amber. You're great at what you do. Definitely agree. You need to have a passion for anything you do in life. Totally agree. Yeah. Like I think it helps. Definitely a lot. Like we all grew up or at some point in our lives have to work a job or do something we don't want to do. Like I don't want to go to work at all, like even now, but it makes it 1,000 times easier when I like what I'm doing, of course. And yeah, and some people really just get into coding and they don't like it at all. At least they claim they do. At least they say they don't. And they just say they're doing it for a job, and that's fine. I just think it just makes it a lot easier if 40 hours a week, like most of your waking day, what you're going to be doing is if you can find something that you don't hate and kind of like to do, like, you winning, that's a big win in life. Like, cause it's hard. Cause a lot of people work 40, 50 years until they retire and something they hate every day. And like, that just sucks. Like, it's just no one wants to see their life like that. Like no one plans to have their life be like that. I want to make a career change into tech from truck driving. I have no experience. Where should I start? Man, yeah, that's probably a big shift. I assume since you're interested in it, you're probably like technically inclined, or you're at least interested in tech. So it's probably not as far as you may think. I would say there's this website called roadmap.sh. That gives you like that's probably one of the best, clearest, easiest plans of like how to start in tech from like ground zero. And like the thing is, what you may not expect is not starting with coding, like specifically. And you just saying tech, so maybe not coding, but like it has everything, like all kinds of different ranges in tech. But like it probably don't start where you think. Like it's starting with like where to, like how the internet work. Like if you want to be a web developer, or you want to be in IT, or you want to, like, if you want to understand tech at all, you need to understand how the internet works. Everything's connected to the internet now. Refrigerators are connected to the internet, stoves, medical devices that are going in our bodies, like everything is. So you got to understand, even go to the basics and even understand like what happens in a browser when it when you put a URL into the browser. Like, what is actually it doing? How does it connect? Like, that roadmap.sh will teach you from there, and it'll tell you where to go next. And then it's like, oh, well, maybe you need to learn HTML if you want to be like a web developer, or maybe you want to go learn Python if you want to be like a back end or some other, it just depends. I would say that. I would say that too. I would say that's a good way to kind of start. You can DM me though, because that's a big question, man. Have you tried Claude yet? I don't know what Claude is. It's like an AI tool. It's so many AI things, GPTs out now, man. I can't keep up with them. Somebody said accountability partner for studying helps me. I'm working through DSA and LeetCode right now with a team. Oh yeah, being Tachi. Yeah, that definitely helps. I think when I first started LeetCode, I started with like 2 other people, and it made it a lot easier. It's hard, man, learning data structure and algorithms and doing coding challenges. But having an accountability partner helps. Like always with working out, with coding, it's a grind. So you need to have somebody that's kind of like the days you don't want to do it, almost forcing you to do it. Until you build that habit, until you build that muscle up to where you kind of do it on your own. For me, it's a lot of times I just force myself until I build a natural rhythm. And then, and I read this book, Atomic Habits, where like one of the tips they have there is like habit stacking. So I like to listen to music. I like to watch certain shows. And sometimes like I'll like stack certain things I like with the stuff I don't like to try to like trick myself into like stacking the thing together so that it, is easier for me to start doing it. And what I used to not listen to music when I coded, but then when I started trying to interview prep, I started listening to music, because then I stopped listening to music at other times and only listened to music then. And so it gave me like, it's just a little mental trick, like to get me to like look forward to doing it actually. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but yeah. Atomic Habits, man, I recommend anybody read that. Like, no matter what career you're in, it's a great book. Just teaches you that like, instead of trying to like take on these grand habits, like I'm going to quit smoking, or I'm going to learn the code, or I'm going to, taking on these like huge goals and trying to make these new habits, it breaks it down to like atomically into smaller habits that build up into the bigger habit. Like removing obstacles. Like if you want to start working out at the gym, you may do a little thing first where you start moving your shoes and your workout clothes closer to your bed, or you stop trying to you just buy all the same workout clothes, so you stop trying to like feeling like I got to choose my workout clothes, or I got to do this or do that. Or like, if you like watching a movie, you only watch movies while you're on the treadmill, so you like habit stack it together. And so instead of like only watching Netflix and not working out and just sitting there not working out, you actually kind of block watching the movie behind working out. Like, it's all kind of little tricks in that book, man. It's pretty cool. It's pretty good, man. What do you think about Upwork and other freelance platforms? Is it really worth it? Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, if that's what you want to do, are you asking if freelancing's working, or are you saying like those platforms specifically? Freelancing is tough, man. It doesn't have as much security as having a job. You gotta work for every dime. You gotta meet with every customer. You're not, when you work a job, you get stressed out and you're working for somebody else, and it's a lot of downs to it as well. But there's a lot of security in a job. There's PTO. You always know that check's coming if you're sick or not. It's just like, but and then if like you lose a client, if they lose a client at work, you probably not gonna get fired. But if you lose a client freelancing, like you might not get fired, but you might not be able to eat. Or not. Like being drastic, but you might have, it might be a big negative thing. So it's up to the personal. There's trade-offs to both. Like being your own boss, you can make a lot more money. You can have a lot more freedom in time, which is the most important asset we have is time. So if you can get time back, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. But for some people, they want the security of a job, and so it just depends. Cool. That's a great question. Let me try to check. Did you talk about Devin and A? Yeah, I did touch on Devin when I first got on here, but we can definitely talk about it again because it's super important, man. It's yeah. So yeah, I saw the Devin. I haven't looked into it deeply. I kind of taken my time on that, but I mean, we've been scared of AI for a while, and just having this specific, or we've been concerned about it. Some of us been scared, some of us been more just concerned. All of us have been paying attention. But having this thing come out that's more specifically geared towards devs and not all use cases, is a literal dev that can it has access to tooling to commit code and push out, deploy things, and it has access to the internet where it can go look up stuff, and you can kind of micromanage it while it's doing. You can see it has 4 screens and you can see everything it's doing. I mean, that's getting really close to what we do. It's definitely a big step further than I expected at this time. But yeah, like I said earlier, am I more afraid now that it's out than I was before? I don't know. I would probably say I'm still as reasonably concerned as I am for everybody. I'm not somehow more concerned than anybody in a skilled labor position. I feel like this particular thing has come out and is focusing on the software developer, but tomorrow there can be one that's coming out that's focusing on lawyers, and it can be one that comes out that's focused on copywriters. It could be one that all different kinds of skill positions. I talked about earlier how there are robo tax advisors and robo stock advisors and stock portfolio managers and stuff like that. They've already shared concern about losing their jobs to these robo advisor apps where you just invest your money and it just robotically, balances your portfolio for you as the market changes. So, I'm not more concerned than anybody else is with a skilled position, because I feel like by the time AI completely takes over development positions, the state that we'll be in at that point as a society and as the economy will be the least of our worries. We won't be just sitting here talking about, man, software developers really got it bad right now. Man, I don't know what these software developers are going to do. That's going to be we're not going to be thinking about software developers. We're going to be thinking about the whole job market as a whole by that time. Because if you can replace a software developer's job, as skilled a job as that is, then there's a lot of other jobs you can replace, that don't require pushing code somewhere, don't require fixing bugs, and don't require deep troubleshooting and thought, and so. And also, I say, like I said earlier, there's a lot that even this Devin thing still is not covering as part of a software development job. It's not all, as you get higher, when I'm a senior team lead right now, working my way up to being a principal. When you get up to those levels, your coding goes way down to maybe, 25%, some people 5%, some people don't code at all at that level, where you're architecting solutions. And it's not all about just coding, and it's about solving problems, about talking to other stakeholders, product managers, planning, convincing people of things, convincing customers, your customers of certain things, convincing your team of certain things, making decisions, just being a problem solver. And that's what we're getting paid to do. We're being paid to solve problems, not necessarily, it has a lens of software development, but we're really problem solvers. At the end of the day, we just have the skill to solve problems within the context of software development. But at the end of the day, we're really problem solvers. So, and that's deeper than just writing some lines of code. Sometimes that's making a decision that isn't always, may not from the outside, may not seem like the best technical decision, but based on the context and the timing and the resources and the money and the scenario, sometimes you have to take a educated guess on the technical decision you make. And sometimes that takes, to me, I feel like that's where the human element comes in. And then you're dealing with a team, dealing with people, it's hard to just mix a bunch of AI into a team. So it's like either you replace it all or you don't, or you only give the AI certain tasks. So I do think, I mean, it's coming, man. It's coming. It's going to start taking some jobs. It's going to start taking, I mean, it just is what it is. So am I concerned? Yes, but just I'm reasonably concerned. I know that was a long answer, but I mean, shoot. Hey, this thing is coming, man. So it's going to be crazy. Somebody said, I've done the most leak code. All right. That's what's up, man. I mean, hey, depending on your goals, I bet I've done more leak code than you. You talking to me? You talking to me? You probably have done more leak code than me, I'm sure. I'm reading the questions, but I don't know. Maybe y'all talking to each other. I don't know. Anyway, all I say about that is quality over quantity with the leak code thing. Because, I mean, you can read on Blind and read on social media and read anywhere. People that done like 2,000 problems on like all the problems on leak code. And yeah, they still fail the interviews. So like what I did, I was going to do a presentation on this. I was trying to like hold this in. I've shared it a little bit on here already, but like what I did is just bought Leak Code Premium, Blind.com or the Blind app, Glassdoor.com. You go to those three places, and if you're interviewing for like a big tech, which mostly the coding interviews are leaning toward like mid-sized to big tech companies. Some of the smaller companies do it too, but if it's one of those mid-sized to small, if you go on Glassdoor, Blind.com, or Leak Code Pro, the problems be on there, man. They be on there. And like they look at the interview reviews that real people have put on there. Last time I was in an interview run, like I was doing a bunch of interviews or whatever, I used a comment. I had like my notes and everything, this is another book I've been reading, is Creating Your Second Brain, I think is what it's called, where you like do this like really organized note taking digitally, where you just kind of like have all your stuff organized really well. And so I had like all these questions from like every time I had a company on the board to interview for, I would have all these questions I collected from these 3 or 4 different websites. And man, I'd probably say 75% of the time they asked a question off of my list that I had already directly prepared for. So it was like I may have like 10 to 20 problems that I needed to do for that company. So I didn't need to go do 800 problems to try to catch everything. I just focused on the exact things that they was going to ask me. I got the interview structure from the recruiter. I went on Glassdoor and found people shared their old interview results from like 2 days ago. They said they're going for the same position as me. These are the questions they got asked. So I practiced that. I went on Leak Code. You can order, if you got Leak Code Pro, you can order by the company name if it's a big enough company. And it will give you all the leak code problems by frequency that they asked. And I just went by the order of I didn't even do all the problems. I just did the most frequent ones. I'm telling you, 75% of the time the same problem showed up, or a variation of the problem would show up. And so because I did it like that, like I feel like the quantity don't mean anything. It's all about, and it's the foundation. Like, did you learn the foundation of the leak code problems? Like learn the patterns, and learn the concepts, the data structures, the algorithms that you need to solve any problem, because it's all patterns. Like all the problems boil down to about 10 to 15 patterns: dynamic programming, 2-pointer solution, binary search, depth first search, like all these different algorithms. Like they all boil down to those 15 patterns. And now the harder problems you end up using like multiple. You end up like merging some of those patterns together to solve different parts of the problem. But end of the day, if it's going outside of that, then it's probably going outside of like data structures and algorithms. So anyway, that was a long-winded answer too. My boy David said reverse them checks. Yeah, ain't trying to get checked on here, man, about the leak code. Like definitely past FANG interviews and all that stuff. So I've been there without having to go like crazy on the scale. Not saying I passed every interview now, for real. Like, hey, we all fail interviews at some point. So, but yeah, from failing, you learn a lot too. So, Yeah, let me answer some more questions before I get off here. I'm sorry I'm missing the questions, man. I get on these tangents and get on these runs. I'm learning Python in school right now and struggling. What are some ways I can improve and get better? Man, well, you're in school, so I mean, at least you're on a track to learn. But I can, sometimes it's hard because you can get behind and you feel like you're not understanding what's going on. I would say if you need some extra help, I would start studying on your own a bit. And I know that sucks because school takes up so much of your time, but I would start studying on your own, finding an online resource, maybe YouTube, maybe that's a course, maybe that's a tutorial site, somewhere that you can learn separately in a style that can maybe help you a lot more practical style. That's a good thing about like versus school versus like what's online. The tutorials they're more practical. Like they may teach you like how to build a certain site using Python, and I think it'll connect with you more. Like it'll make you'll be able to connect it to like, because a lot of times school real theoretical, and it's like, yeah, this is Python, and this is the foundation, this is the fundamentals, and da da da, and you're like, so what would I do with that in the real world? But like boot camps and tutorials and YouTube, they do more like practical. So like use Python to build this AI thing, or use Python to build this calculator thing, or I don't know. It's just a lot more practical, and it helps bring it home. And sometimes you'll have that click moment, because that's all you're waiting for. Once you get that little moment where everything starts to click, then it just starts snowballing. Because I had it in college. Like I was failing like all my computer science classes, and then when I took what was the class? It really wasn't until I took compilers, and that's one of the hardest computer science classes ever. When I took compilers, we built our own compiler from a proprietary language, like a smaller subset language, like that the teacher made up, and we built a compiler. So a compiler it's just what, you write code, and then in some languages that code has to be compiled into down into the machine language, so the machine knows what to do with the code that you wrote. And so we wrote the compiler, which you wouldn't do that in a job, but like in school it's a learning thing. So it's a hard class. And that class is what just like gave me that moment where it was like, dang, this clicks. Like I know how object-oriented programming works. I know how classes work, inheritance work. Like once I kind of learned it just made everything click, variables and like how things work together. Just like all of it started to flow. And then I became interested, and then it just snowballed to where I started trying to learn stuff on my own. So yeah. I hope that helps. But just DM me if you got like specific questions, because like when it's real open-ended like that, I can just like talk about anything. How long did it take for you to get a SWE job? The market is horrible right now. So I'm old. I'm probably like older than everybody thinks. I got my job like 10 years ago. So my first job. So the market was a lot better back then. I'll just say that. And it didn't take me long. It took me a little while because I live in Atlanta right now. I was living in like Columbus, Georgia, like a smaller city. And that market for jobs was like, it was like 2 or 3 big companies down there that did it at the time. So I don't know how it is now. So don't nobody come at me if you're from there. But it probably better now. But at that time, it was like 2 big companies that were hiring devs at scale. And so it was hard to find a job. But as soon as I switched my search to Atlanta, which is like a nice little tech hub here, or nice, tech hub here in the South. Man, I had interviews lined up and had a job within like a week. And I didn't pass all the interviews, but I passed like enough of them to get a couple offers on the table. So, but now like it's way harder. Man, now they're not hiring like, even at my company, like they're just not hiring people straight out of school and people without experience that much anymore. Like companies are laying people off, and they're not taking risks on new devs. Like they're looking for like, it's kind of stupid, but like even when they say entry level, they're not really looking for entry level. They're looking for like you to have 3 to 4 years, which sucks. It's not fair. But what you can do, one thing I say is like to get experience is start freelancing, like somebody mentioned before, and start like even if you do something for free, like if you just say you find like you say your parent or your cousin or somebody owns a business or something, and say, hey, let me do your website for you, or hey, let me do this application for you for free. Draw up a contract with them, even if you do it for free, and say $0. Draw up a contract and like say I'm gonna work for you for, if they have a real business, you draw up a contract with them. Technically you either freelancing or you contracting. So like it's kind of like a hack to get experience, really. And because you're actually doing a project, use the right technologies that, look at the job that you're going for and look at the job description and figure out the technologies that they're asking for. Use the right technologies in this project and then put it on your resume. Like, I had a contract with this dude for 3 months to do, with this LLC or this business to make this site, and it's live and it's here and it's, like, that's a trick that you can do right now in this crazy industry. I did it. I built a social media site before I got my first job, and it helped me get my first job. Now, it was an LLC. It was a real business, but I knew these people, like, from high school. Like, I knew these people, I knew one of them from high school. I knew the other ones, as mutual friends. But it was a real site that I did. And when I got in an interview, I showed them the site. I showed them the database. I showed them the queries I wrote. I showed them the stored procedures I wrote. I showed them I knew how to design databases. I showed them I knew how to create web pages, and, like dynamic web pages and like a web application, a web app. And so, yeah, it worked for me. So I would say, that was 10 years ago, but I would say to this point now where you're not able to get in the door, starting to build your own projects or starting to freelance or starting to try to like create your own opportunities is probably the one hack that I feel like you have more control over. Because what's going to happen now is you're going to be discouraged because you're not getting a lot of interviews. The interviews you get, they're going to pass on you because, it's not your fault, but it's just the industry is stupid right now. They're just not taking risk on people. So David said freelancing, FREE, freelancing. Yeah, like you really freelancing because you might have to do it for free. But I mean, maybe not do all of them. You can get paid for them too. Like, that's the thing. If you can get a client to pay you, then you can be getting paid while you're preparing for your next actual role. Like, I got paid, for it. And then eventually it turned like to a free thing. But originally I got paid for it. So, yeah, man. I mean, that's what I would say is like one of the hacks to like try to get experience. And then you can just build your own projects. But, I would say on a resume, what looks better? Like, I built these side projects that they don't have a real domain. They don't really work. People can't really use it. Or I built these real things for real companies. Even if I did it for free, they don't have to know what you got paid or not. Even if I did it for free, I built this real stuff. This is a real company, and I built a real app for them using these real technologies. Like, that's going to look real good in your resume. And then you can say you were freelancing. Like, I interview people all the time that have freelancing on their resume. So, but really be doing it though, because you really need to be learning. Because it's not gonna help if you get in an interview and you can't talk about this stuff. Because there's certain things you can only learn from doing. It don't matter how many tutorials you do, how much you go to school. You only run into certain problems during development when you actually are trying to solve the problem. Certain things people don't talk about on social media. They don't get on social media and talk about, man, I sat here for 3 days trying to figure out how to get this token to store in the browser storage and share across different domains. But Google has this new policy where they're blocking third-party cookies and third-party storage. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm dealing with something like that now. And so it's like this stuff that people don't get on the internet and talk about. But you in an interview, when you start talking about that kind of stuff, like that detailed type of stuff, that's when somebody hires you because they like, okay, he knows he talk. Like, there's no way he knows that. He can't just hear that on the internet. There's no way he knows that unless he's actually working on real problems. So I know I'm just ranting, but it's just stuff I think about every day. So I'm just getting it all out right now. How long does it take to realistically get into tech? I'm starting from zero. Man, I can't even put a timeline on it because I know you've heard about people getting into tech like within months. Some people take some years. Some people take some 5 years. It just depends, man. It depends on what your goal. Like, I wouldn't say what your goal is, but it depends on where you're like what place you are in your life right now, how many other responsibilities you have, how much investment can you make into it. Because I mean, if you really just like invested crazy amounts of time into it, you could get a tech position pretty fast, like, you know, in a couple months. Like if you really invested a lot of time, like, I mean, every day, constantly, and you had that time to do. More realistically, if I had to guess, I would say at least take a year of preparation, but it depends on what you're doing. Like you may decide to go to school and get a 4-year degree to get into tech. You know, you may work your job and then you may do this school thing, and it may take you like 4 or 5 years to get it because you're working it with a job. So in that case, it takes you 5 years. You may do a boot camp. The boot camp may be 6 months. You may come out of that boot camp and then have to do some side projects and some freelancing to build up some more experience. It may take you up to a year then, you know. Or some people get straight out the boot camps and they just get lucky, or they fortunate, or they interview well and they get a job right out the boot camp, you know, like a 6-month boot camp. So it just depends. And some people self-teach, you know, where they self-teach them. They go get a certification, like an IT certification, not even coding. Maybe go get an IT certification, like a Microsoft security cert or something, or Amazon cloud practitioner thing. And they maybe start doing cloud, you know, like cloud ops. So, you know, it just depends, man. The only thing you can really control is just start learning, like now. Like just start whatever you're interested in, whether it's coding, whether it's the cloud, whether it's like IT, whether it's DevOps, whether it's product management, whether it's tech sales, no matter what it is, like find your spot you're interested in and just start learning, start reading, start doing tutorials. Like just start learning. Like don't get stuck trying to figure out like what to start with. Like just start. And then you'll figure out like kind of which way you want to move. But like starting is way better than starting on the wrong thing is way better than not starting at all. As long, you know, as long as you starting somewhere in the realm, you know, you can't just like go start reading Barney books and then think you're gonna be a coder. Like I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like, you know, don't get so stuck on trying to find the perfect thing, be a perfectionist. So anyway, man, how long does it take to learn programming to be fluent? Man, fluent. I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by fluent. Like, do you just have everything recollection? You can just code from memory, or you just like feel like you're real confident. It's always gonna be imposter syndrome there because it's always gonna be somebody you feel like better than you, and that's not just a tech thing. That's just in like life, period. But like before you feel comfortable, I say if it's when it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to get a job, you're never gonna feel fluent and comfortable until you get that job and you get in there about a year. It's this like scale. I wish I had the show on the screen, but it's this scale of like confidence in a programmer. Once they get in that job about 2 or 3 years, their confidence actually over peaks. If you ever been and it's not just tech. If you ever been in a job with somebody, they get in like 1 or 2 years. And they get in this thing where they just think they stuff don't stink. Like they think they just got it. Like they just good. Like they just the best. They know everything. You can't tell them nothing. And they been in that, like they get in that little sweet spot where they think they got it all figured out. And then it's like a trail off where you meet somebody or something happens or you mess something up. And then you say, dang, man, I'm not really like, I'm 4 or 5 years in and I don't feel like I'm smart as I should be. I don't feel like I'm making the money I should be. I don't feel like I'm getting the projects done that I should. I don't feel like I'm moving as fast as I should. And then it starts to like kind of come back up once you figure out, okay, I really don't know everything and I can't know everything. And there's going to be people that know things I don't know. And now once you come to the real realization is that you never going to know everything. You always going to feel like little gaps. But that's when you really grow and learn how to learn. That's when you learn how, okay, what are the best ways to learn? You pick and choose. The smartest devs know how to pick and choose like when they need to dig deep on something and what they need to go learn to solve a problem. And then you start to climb back up, like, and that's kind of when you get kind of to that senior dev principal. And, you know, and if you're in a different type of tech role, you know, that like, I guess like L6, like level 5, like whatever, you know, you start getting those higher levels. So just my opinion though, you know, it's can be a lot different scenarios. So what language do you program? What languages? JavaScript mainly right now because like my day job is like more web development, so it's mostly JavaScript. I got like a lot of side projects going on too, so that's a little bit of C#, PHP, and I know people hate PHP, but PHP still makes me money, so I'm cool with it. What have I programmed in? Java. At work we have some Java. Sometimes I touch it, but I try to avoid it because I just don't. I don't know. I like Java. It's just, yeah, with certain Java projects you want to avoid because they can be pretty tough to deal with. But yeah, I've done Java before, C++. Shoot, is that all my languages? Objective-C and Swift when I was doing iOS development natively. So yeah, a few different languages. But I say my two strongest are JavaScript and C#. If I had to pick two. Let me see, what time is it? All right, I'm staying here for like 15 more minutes. Hoping to get into web development as a job. I definitely suggested, what is your starting salary for your web development job? Well, I won't say what my salary was because that was like 10 years ago, so it's a little different. But I'd say like you should even in a small market, getting a entry level web development job, you should at least be at like 80K if you're in a small market. If you're like in like one of the top tier 1 cities, New York, San Francisco, LA, Seattle, maybe Austin now. I don't know. But like, like those high tier cost of living cities, you definitely gonna make like over, like 6 figures or whatever, like over 100,000. But I've seen it just varies. Like if you're in a smaller market where the cost of living is low, it's gonna be like 80, 90. But from what I've personally seen, like is right at like 100,000, like because of the inflation that's happened. And when the market was real hot, like a couple years ago, like 2021, like people was getting hired like straight off the street, man, like 100,000 in a low cost of living market. Now in a high cost of living market, the numbers go way up just because like if you're living in Seattle and it costs you $3,000 to rent a 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, then of course they're gonna pay you like 150. But it's like you gotta think about the scale of it. Like if you spending $3,000, $4,000 on your rent, like are you really getting paid that much more, or are they just paying you to live? Like, you know what I mean? Like it kind of depends on the ratio of how much you're getting paid to where you live. Like, and the people talk about it, but they really don't. It's like people talk about it, they don't really understand it. Like just because you shout out you at 150 or you at 200. If you paying, it depends on how much you paying out too. Like they paying you that, but they still might not be paying you fairly. Like, you still got to like kind of compare it to other cost of living areas and what they're getting paid and what different people are getting paid to make sure you're still getting paid fairly. Because a big number might seem like a lot, but in New York City, it's not. You know what I mean? So it just depends. But anyway, Dave said, C-Town, stand up. Yeah. Columbus, Georgia, man. That's where I first tried to get a tech job at, which I think now is probably better. I probably could go back, but I'm straight in Atlanta right now. Just, Atlanta's a good tech hub. There's a lot of good companies here. Like all the big companies here, Amazon's here. All the companies have like offices here. Like most of them do. Or I wouldn't say most of them, but a lot of the big tech companies have offices here. I think Home Depot is headquartered here. I think. There's a big office here for that. There's a Microsoft office they just built before the pandemic. Amazon has an office, I think, like in Buckhead, I think. So like the big tech companies have offices, and then there's all kind of like mid-size and startups here too. A lot of startups here. Yeah, so it's a great place, and it's still the price is coming up, but Atlanta's still a low cost of living city compared to like those tier 1 cities. So, it just depends on what you like. Like if you want, some people they gotta live in one of those tier 1 cities, but I feel like Atlanta's like the middle of the road. It's not perfect by far, but it's kind of middle of the road. It got everything that a big city has as far as like the different things that come to the city, but you don't have to deal with those like crazy prices like. 4,000 for like a freaking box or whatever. Like, have y'all seen them videos of them New York apartments? I know it's not like, it's like exceptions and stuff, but like those videos of those apartments where it's like, I seen one, they didn't even have a bathroom in the thing, man. Like the bathroom, it was like college, like where they had the community showers and stuff. Like they ain't that's your apartment. Your apartment don't have a shower, don't have a kitchen, didn't have a bathroom. Your apartment is just a room. It don't have nothing in there. It's just a room. And then the bathroom and showers are in the community in the hallway, like college. Now maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm just being like snooty or something. But that's crazy, man. And if then, especially if you paying like $2,000 something, like, and you don't get a bathroom, like you can't wake up in the middle of the night and just like be in peace. Like you got to put on your shoes, clothes, then go use the bathroom, then come back down the hall. Like that's like you got to literally go out your apartment, lock the door, go to the bathroom, come back, unlock the door. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just tripping. Like maybe that's, I don't know, and I know that's not every apartment, but I just saw that video and I was like crazy, and like I was like that's crazy. So anyway, somebody said also check out MIT OpenCourseWare for access to courses. Man, that's what's crazy now. There's just so many resources to learn how to code. Like it's insane. I can't even, like, I'm just gonna get to rambling trying to like say all the stuff that you can go and do outside of going to school. Like you really don't have to go to school anymore to like learn how to code or like be a programmer. Like it's just so many great options that teach you. YouTube University, of course, is always a great option, but there's like so many boot camps, courses. There's a lot of free stuff. Like, I mean, if you got the the thing is, people just, and I don't know why I just spit like that. It was crazy, but people just, being determined and having the like, what's the word? Just being like, dedicated to learning something. Like, it's hard for us as humans to do. Like, to really sit down and just like every night learn how to do something new. When you got bills, you got job, you got people depending on you, you got problems. And so the stuff is out there. It's just really, it ain't about picking, trying to like, it's all about like, if you're dedicated enough, you're going to find out what you need. But it's just like trying to get your mind to a place where you can sit down and do what you need to do to learn and change your life or change, your career or whatever. So, that's the hard part. But, yeah, anyway. I think what's your strongest programming language? I'd probably say between JavaScript, and C#. So like on the front end, if I'm going for a front end role in the interview, I would choose JavaScript to do the challenges in. If I'm going for a back end role, I would choose C#, which is like a language that Microsoft created. It's like similar to Java. I mean, you probably know what it is, but it's similar to Java, but like Microsoft created it after Java. So this is just my opinion. They made it a little bit like less verbose and a little better to me. But I love Java too. But I'm just saying, because they had the benefit of coming later, they were able to like take a lot of the verbosity out of the language and like do some slight things differently that I like. I just say I like it more. I ain't gonna say it's better. What's your opinion on machine learning engineering? I mean, I think that's the most safe, one of the safer areas in tech. I'd say that's my main opinion on it right now. It wasn't something I was really interested in. I like more stuff that like, with that, it touches the customer in an indirect way. But like more recently in my career, I've been like working with, I'm not gonna say exactly what I do, but like the stuff that I work on at work is like literally I can use it in my personal life too. Like it's like the product that I work on is used on like a lot of big customers' sites that I use in my everyday life, airlines and stores. And so like I can actually like see the stuff that I work on, and that feeling right there is just like, I just can't beat that feeling. And so I wasn't too interested in it. But now with AI and stuff popping like it has been, of course my interest went way up. And so now it's like, with machine learning behind it, and then, you have like AI engineers, it's like all kind of different roles and stuff. I just think it's more. I mean, of course, like who's gonna be the last? If programming jobs get taken or tech jobs get taken, who's gonna be the last ones to go? The people that's like training models, AI models, doing machine learning stuff, doing AI stuff. That those are gonna be the people that are gonna be the last people to kind of be affected. So, yeah, I'd say it's the most safe area. But I say that, but it's like I just also don't want to like have people blindly just trying to go toward machine learning, like just because they're scared of AI. Like I think this AI thing is actually scaring people out of computer science majors, which is crazy to me. And I understand why they're scared and why they're making the decision, but I'm kind of disappointed in the tech community that they're allowing people to be scared out of tech careers because of AI. And so then what's your alternative? So you tell somebody don't get into tech, don't learn how to code, don't learn the cloud, don't learn this, don't learn that. What you gonna tell them to go do? Unless you're gonna go tell them to like start doing road construction, or you're gonna tell them to do start, I don't know, like doing something that like AI is harder for AI to get to, like more like manual labor type jobs, or like be a counselor or something, like or a therapist, or maybe a doctor, where like doctors are even starting to kind of, you got bots, you got AI driven bots that can like perform surgery and stuff. Like, it's all starting to get kind of touched. But unless you're going to tell them to do that, then why are you telling them not to get in tech? But see, what mostly happens, they say don't get in tech, and they either don't say anything else, or they say, yeah, you should just go do this other thing that's going to be taken over by AI even earlier. So why are you going to tell somebody not to do tech, but then you're going to direct them to something that's going to be replaced by tech even earlier than programmers, like a less skilled position? So it's like, and all positions are great. I'm not like saying anything wrong with any of the positions like people do. I'm just saying stop trying to discourage people from like joining something that can be real lucrative for them. And we don't know what the future holds. We don't know what's going to happen. Like we don't know how this thing's going to turn out. So like, stop trying to, I don't like I think I'm disappointed in kind of like the communities here on social media sometimes. And just out in the, media, the tech media in general. It's like they're kind of just fear mongering around it. And like, and I see a lot of young developers like come to me and say, should I even get into tech because of AI? Or should I even do computer science major? I'm just like, man, that's crazy. Like, even if you just say you get into it and you join like a big tech company like Facebook, get a bunch of stock options, and then your job get taken in like year 4 after your stock option vest. Like you could have like $400,000 and then lose your job to a bot. You still good. Like it's still better off than if you didn't do it. So like, I don't know, man. Like even in the worst case, it's still good. So I don't get it, man. And I'm not saying everybody goes to Facebook and just gets all that money, but I'm just saying that like some people do, like literally go to Facebook and get $100,000 a year in RSUs, and they leave after 4 years. Like a lot of people only stay at Facebook like 2 years and get, they get their first vest and then they leave. So, a lot of people just go there to get the money, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. So like, I don't know. I'm just rambling now, but yeah. So let me see if there's any more questions I want to answer before I jump off of here. Yeah, I'm sorry I missed all these questions and stuff like this. But it's been a great little, I feel like it's been a great live. I got to do more of these, man. For sure. What's your take on what's next after AI? I mean, I'd say what's next with AI is that it's going to start to, somebody said it online, if you don't learn, no matter what you're doing right now, it don't matter who you are or what you're doing, if you're out of high, I say if you're still in high school, but like if you're in the working world, you need to be learning about AI because it's going to touch everything. You're going to have to understand it. Like we have to understand the internet now, and how like some of our parents and grandparents don't understand it. They don't understand computers. Like AI is the next thing that like we're going to have to understand. If we don't understand it, we're going to be like some of our like elders are now like not understanding the internet and like, why can't I pay my bill over the phone no more? Why can't I send a check in? It's like, and why can't I get this information through mail anymore? Like it's gonna be that kind of thing, and you're gonna start getting the jobs that are gonna be AI assisted. I think that's what's coming first. It's gonna be like a lot of AI assistants. It's gonna be smaller teams, like where you come into a team and like some of the more, I guess I ain't gonna say like I'm gonna say simpler jobs and more jobs that are easy to be automated are gonna be cut first. And it's gonna be like you're gonna be working with like people and you're gonna be working with like tech too. Like we already do. Think about it, we already do. Our phones do automate a lot of stuff for us. Like even setting an alarm on your phone is a certain form of automation, like to wake you up in the morning instead of using like a alarm clock. An alarm clock is even an automation. So, we already use it, but I think it's going to like scale up to like this drastic amount where it's literally we're going to be like working with AI tooling to do stuff. And so like instead of like, think about GitHub's Copilot where you're working with AI to code. You're saying like, hey, give me a loop that does blank, blank, blank. And it gives you a loop. Like I think about it in the sense of like any job you work in is going to be either taken over by AI or be heavily AI assisted at first. That's what I feel like we're going to next. And so if you don't have knowledge of AI and how, like my friend David said, like how to work, have enough knowledge to know where you can put in value and how you can work with it and around it, then it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be real tough. Cause you think about how limited somebody is in this day and age when they don't know how to use a smartphone and when they don't know how to use the internet. Think about how limited their life is and with jobs that they can get. They can't it's hard to find jobs that you can work without using the internet. Like you can't even take payments barely. Like, I don't know. Like, so I think about that in the same sense of AI, of what it's going to do to the world. It's different. I'm not saying it's the exact same thing, but I'm saying the impact is going to be, I feel like going to be on a similar level. So like, I think the best thing we can do is not just reject it completely, but like be careful, be conscious and be weary of it, but like also be knowledgeable of it and learn it and like start like download ChatGPT to your phone and start using. That's what I did like last year, and that kind of helped me have a better understanding of like I use it every day now, like in my development work. I barely Google stuff anymore. Because I used to do a lot of Googling, like, what's the syntax for this? Give me the regex for this. Regular expression for this. Like, when I have these two inputs and these two outputs, like, I like doing like simple, like, things I used to Google. I just don't have to Google anymore. Like, I don't have to tell it, how do I, split a string in this language? I can just chat GPT it now. So, like, by doing that, get yourself used to it. And I do it for my life too. Like if I'm like downstairs and about to cook like something I don't know how to cook, I don't Google anymore. I don't want to search through a bunch of, how you used to search through the Google's search results and try to find like the best one that matches what you really asking. You can ask ChatGPT such a specific question that like, yeah, it's dumb sometimes and it gets it wrong, but it's harder to get it wrong versus searching through a bunch of Google results. Like you literally tell it what ingredients you have and what you're trying to make. It will tell you like how to cook it. And then you can kind of tweak it and ask it more questions. So I use it for everything. Like a lot of different stuff. Like, so anyway, like just I say all that to say that getting comfortable with it is a wise thing to do. If you're scared about losing your job, like I feel like more of the focus should be less on being scared and all that stuff and more focus on like learning how to leverage it. So when you get in an interview, you can say like, you can, because I think it's going to start with us working with the AI versus like just being taken over by it. So anyway, we have detected inactivity on your live. Like what? I'm sitting here talking about it's inactive. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, I'm probably going to get off soon anyway. But yeah, I definitely appreciate everybody getting on here. I'm going to try to find a couple more questions to answer. Got an interview tomorrow. Super anxious. Any tips for behavioral questions? Man, let me say this before I get off of here. I've been doing, well, I've done some interviews in the past and recently, and man, people getting killed on the behavioral questions in tech. I thought in tech, the tech question is supposed to be hard. We ask you to code this, ask you to find, the largest subsequence in a string, and all, you know what I'm saying? That stuff's supposed to be hard. The behavioral question is supposed to be easy, but they the hardest questions because it's like hard to prepare for. But I'm gonna give some good advice because like when I interview people fail. People like doing excellent on the tech part. People used to fail the crap out of the tech part and kill the behavioral questions. And now it's flipped because I think the pandemic, man, people don't have no we ain't social no more or something. I don't know what's going on, but like I'm gonna give the best advice I could think of though. Either come up with stories beforehand or make up stories beforehand. Have a story for everything. And I wouldn't say have a story for everything, but have a story for a few different specific scenarios, like a time that you were working on a project and everything changed, your best accomplishment, a time when you had a problem to overcome. Like have stories about you getting through some sort of adversity. Like as long as you have stories related to the job where you get through some adversity, you can kind of connect it to probably whatever behavioral question they ask, like in some sort of way. But have your stories, like what I did when I was preparing for interviews, I thought of all my best stories that I had been telling on social media and to my friends and we laughed at. And I just wrote them all down in my notes, in my little second brain thing. And that helped me because then when I got an interview, I had all these stories in my mind to just recall. And then this is the second tip. When you tell the story, use the STAR method. But I'm going to make it more simple. Like STAR method is like situation. What is it? Situation, the task that came out of it, the action you took, and then the result. Like, I'm going to make it more simple as that. Don't forget the result. Just don't forget the result. You can kind of skip the S, the T, and the A. But like what I've been seeing in every interview almost is people don't talk about the results. They spend all this time talking about, yeah, we had this big project and I coded a solution and we teammates, we fought about it and they eventually went my way and it was done. And it's like they either don't even say what the result was or they're like really lax on the result. Really explain the result. What did the result do for the company? What did it do for you? Did it make the company more money? Was the project successful and a customer renewed their contract? Did you get a promotion? Like it needs to be a real result there. If you had a conflict with a team member, did you change? Like personally, okay, I learned that I need to be blank, blank, blank with talking to this person because, it didn't work well when I did this other thing, but now I'm more reasonable or compromised. It's like some kind of real result. But like people just explain the situation and they think they're done. They're like, yeah, we had this hard project and then everything changed. And then, yeah, we just did the changes. And it's like behavioral questions, it's a little fake. You almost got to be a little fake. You can make up a story if you want, but that's better than telling a real story that sucks. So like that was a great question. I'm glad you asked about the behavioral questions because like people, at least in my experience, people getting killed on a behavioral question. They think they don't matter in the interview, but when you're in the debrief session with other interviewers and they're talking, you could have killed all the technical part and they'll be like, man, I don't think he's a team player because I asked him like how does he work with a team when there's disagreements, and he said that he just told them what it was, and because he was right, they agreed with him. Like people actually get in the interview and say some junk like that. And I'm like, how do you expect somebody going to work with you if you don't have any soft skills? Like if they don't, because you could be the smartest dev ever. I learned this when I was early in my career. I worked with some really smart devs, but when they were like assholes or whatever, excuse my language, whatever, but when they just wasn't cool, like it didn't matter, man. It didn't matter. It didn't work for them. They didn't get promoted. They didn't stay. They left. Like whatever happened, they just ended up not being successful. They end up getting like siloed on projects. Nobody wanted to work with them. No one liked them. Like the soft skills matter, man. So I'm just rambling, but not a story that sucks. Some of these stories is garbage, man. Like people, I'm like, y'all need to be making up some stories, man. I'm in the interview sitting there like, when they get done with the story, I'm like, or it's not a story. It's supposed to be experience. Do you have a time when, those interview questions that these are interview questions that come from any interview you ever done in your life. And they just, but in tech, it has a tech lens on it. They ask you like, when is a time that you failed and like what happened and what'd you learn? And they may not say what you learned from, but you need to tell them like, what was the result? Like, don't just say, yeah, man, we're doing this project and we're supposed to have it done by December 12th and we didn't get it done by December 12th. We got it done by January 12th. And I'm just sitting there looking at it like, that's it? Like, so you don't got no kind of analysis of what happened. That's the story you decided to tell me in the interview. You thought that's what I was looking for as a signal to hire you. Like, so you kind of got to think about it like signals. And that's why I always say like, and it's another tangent, but like, that's why I always say, if you get the opportunity to interview people, like take it. It's a lot of extra work, but like it teaches you so much about interviewing because you're on the other side. It's like less pressure, but it's hard too to interview somebody because a lot of interviewers suck. So like, that's the one thing people don't talk about is like, not everybody's a good interviewer. Like people get pushed in the interviewer when they really suck at interviewing. But you have to just deal with that. Like sometimes I've been in an interview and know the interviewer sucks because I interview myself and I still know how to work around because I just got the experience to like, I'm not saying I kill every interview. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's been certain scenarios where like I knew this interviewer just wasn't asking the right questions, but I knew how to answer what they really wanted because it was like, I know that you really want the signals. Like you want to be able to write down on your thing to say, he looks like he works good with a team. He has a good personality. He killed the coding challenge. He talks about architecting and designing solutions. He has experience doing that. He can talk about it. He knows system design. I asked him about, we talked about designing systems together. He knows what he's talking about. He knew these specific details that surprised me. Like signals. Like that's how we end up talking in like debriefs. It's like, what positive signals did we see? What negative signals did we see? And big negative signal is when you have conflict with somebody and you just say, yeah, just don't do that. When you have conflict with somebody and you just say, they just listen to me because I just explained myself and then they just agreed eventually. Like, or one dude said like, and I'm not saying where this came from. This is just some random thing that I had experience with. But somebody said, they was like, what did they say? They said, dang, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, they said like, yeah, I was, we were having an argument and since I own the project, we just went my way. That's the story they gave in the interview. So like we had a discussion. Like somebody said, when is a situation when you had a conflict with another worker? What was the result? Blah, blah, blah. Say, yeah, we had an argument about this, merge request and they didn't like the code I wrote. I didn't feel like redoing it. But, since I was the leader of the project and I own a project, we decided to just go my way. See, there's nothing wrong with the story, I would say, but you're in an interview. Like, prepare a better story or just make up a better story. Whatever you got to do. But that ain't no good story for an interview, man. Like, come on, man. So I think y'all see the point what I'm talking about now. Yeah, maybe I need to do a post on the interview. Yeah, maybe I need to do like a post on like soft interview skills, not just because I do a lot of coding challenge stuff. You gotta kill that because honestly, the behavior ain't gonna really matter. Sometimes the behavior can save you, especially if you're like a junior. So especially if you're first getting the tech, you really should kill those because then they're gonna say, okay, I like this person. This person can learn. This person has good soft skills. They're coachable. If you're coachable as a junior or as like somebody entry level, they're gonna give you more of a chance. Now, if you're in your senior level and then you start messing up the technical stuff, then it's gonna be kind of tough. Like they might still give you a chance. They might say, okay, well, we can get you to the next level because you're coachable. So you should always do good on the behavior too. But like, that technical, both of them are equal, man. I would probably say. I mean, yeah, I'd probably say they're equal. But yeah, you can't just bomb the technical part though. Like, I mean, they're just gonna be like, yeah, this is what you're here for. So, anyway, I think I'm gonna jump off now. I've been on here way longer than I thought I was gonna be, but it's been fun. I'm sorry I didn't get to all the questions. I'm gonna get better at reading all the questions and stuff, cause I'm on everything. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and now X as well. So I'm everywhere. I don't even think I can see the comments from X. I don't know, but anyway, like I'm reading all these comments from all these different places. That's why I'm looking around. So I'm gonna try to get better at doing that. I'm gonna do these more often. This time I'm not lying. I'm gonna actually do these more often. I'm about to go work out now before 12 because I'm trying to like close my little rings or whatever before 12 o'clock. So yeah, I'm gonna holler at y'all. I appreciate it. Please, like the channels that you're on, whatever you're watching this on, follow, subscribe, whatever you want to do. If you want to keep up with me, I post stuff too. And yeah, just DM me if you want to have a conversation. If I ain't get to your question, just DM me and I answer questions in the DM too. Don't DM me no hey stuff now. Don't be talking about hey, like don't do that. Ask me some kind of question and like ask me a detailed question. Don't come in there talking about hey, because I'm not gonna say hey back. I'm just be like, what are you talking about? Why are you saying hey? But anyway, like I appreciate y'all, man, and yeah, connect with each other too, man. Like don't you have to connect with me, but if somebody was in the chat that you want to connect with or whatever, like it's a community. These online communities are pretty cool, and I think they help us out a lot. They've helped me out a lot. Like I've got job opportunities from these communities. I've learned a lot, so like connect with each other as well. With that, I'm getting out of here. My voice about to go out. I'll holler at y'all next time. Appreciate it.